Family, happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of Financial Freedom. I am your host, Derek Brown. I will be accompanying you on this journey of financial learning. We started this journey March 19th, 2020. We had a goal of providing programming that will be both informational and inspirational, and you all responded. You responded with over 10 million views that led us from one show to 35. In just 65 days, Hope TV has grown substantially, and it's all because of your support. We couldn't have done this without you. So if you don't mind, take a moment and just like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you see us on various different platforms. It's all under the Hope TV, at the Hope TV, all caps, one word. We couldn't have done what we've done without you. So thank you, family. We love you so much here at the House of Hope, and we can't wait to give you more if you keep on following and keep on subscribing. Thank you so much. On to our guest. We have a wonderful man who's been with us before. He's so informational, we had to have him back. His name is Dominic Dugiste. Whew, I'm gonna get that name, I promise. He actually went to the University of North Georgia. He has a degree in finance, over 9 years in financial services. He launched his own business, and then after that, he became the president of the South DeKalb Business Association. After he served his time there, he continued his mission, and his mission simply reads, bridge the gap to your financial future by improving your personal financial knowledge and skills and managing your financial resources. The motto there goes as such: if you do not prepare, you do not succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show once again, Mr. Dominic Dugiste.
Hey, how everybody doing? Thank you, Mr. Brown, for allowing me to be on your show again. I truly appreciate it.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you. Couldn't wait to get back on with you. So, sir, this show in particular, and we've touched on this a few times when we've talked, is about investing. It's really about where we place our money. That's been our theme for this month: where we place our money and how our money gets to work for us. So I need you to talk to me like I'm just a novice in this game, because part of me is. So what skills do I need? What mindset? Maybe that's a better question. What
Mhm.
mindset do I need to have in place when I'm looking to start investing?
Well, I say the mindset you got to have at the beginning is you have to be more of a saver. You got to look to save, and you have to look to change your lifestyle to be able to grow it. Because one of the things is, I think in today's time, we're more consumers than anything. And
Yeah, you're right about that.
and so what you have to do is you have to change that mindset, the mindset of saving and to be able to grow. Because I think we talked about in the last show was about creating that legacy, but rather than you creating that legacy, you creating a goal for yourself to retire early. So I always tell my clients, you have to start preparing early for retirement. So everything you do today, and when you're in your 30s and 40s, is what you're gonna have when you turn 62, because that's typical age everybody wants to retire, 62 to
Mm,
65.
okay.
Mhm.
So for you, it's that mindset of conversion, and you're right. When I hear, especially in the Black community, our buying power is incredible. Um, but our saving and our ability to create wealth is hindered by a litany of factors.
Yeah,
But also, we're consumers. A lot of us are consumers.
yeah, right.
Ads will target us. Will be looked at online. Um,
Mhm.
Everything from social justice campaigns to the latest sale. They definitely don't mind taking our money. But so you're saying we have to convert from a consumer mindset to a savings mindset.
Exactly. Because we know the two most important part with investment is having a job to be able to have discretionary income,
Okay.
and also most people want to find investment to have liquidity. And I think that's one of the biggest issues because things come up where you need to have money to be able to be able to use at certain times. So when people decide to
Hold
invest,
on 1 second. You saying some
okay.
good stuff. Hold on. Tell me what liquidity means.
Liquidity is basically is you can be able to go to that account and receive your money up out of that quick as possible. So for instance, if you have an emergency or you have to go to the hospital and you need $10,000 to $12,000, you want to have your money in
Okay.
an account where you're able to pull it out. And most investments takes a while, and you can be taxed for it. So for instance, if you decide to have a 401k and you decide to take your money out at an early age, you can be 10% original tax gain. So for instance, if you're in a 28% tax bracket or
So they're gonna
higher,
tax me for my own money?
tax you for your own money because all the money is put in most of your employees accounts are basically put in before taxes. So you have to pay taxes on that gain, not
Okay.
the original. So most of the money are taxed when you decide to receive it. So they're one of the things you have to watch out when you're dealing with investments. And I think I was talking with a young lady yesterday, and she told me she used to work for UPS, and she decided she lost a job, spent some of her 401k, took the stocks, and she said, when I did my tax return, Dominic, I owe. She said, like, I think we talked before, you got to have a professional, someone to be able to help you out to navigate you through some of the things you can plan to go through. Because what I think end up happening is, we all think we can do it ourselves, and then it's too late once Uncle Sam start knocking at your door and they want that money.
I've heard instances of people who own small businesses wind up or owing something like $10,000 of debt. Some crazy insane numbers, and it's just from not knowing the tax system.
Exactly. One of the things is I'm not, for instance, taxes is not my specialty, but I know enough to hopefully pass the information to someone so they can understand and point them in the direction of someone that can help them out. Because that's the biggest thing with investments. You just have to know which which vehicle to use, and what tax purposes each one of those vehicles are for you.
So let me ask you this, because we've mentioned a lot about numbers and being able to understand the numbers that stories tell. If I'm looking to invest, how good do I have to be with numbers, period? Like what should I know as far as my skill set when it comes to numbers? Is there some type of reading I should do? I mean, where do I get started there? Answer whichever one you
To be
want first.
anything to become a professional, the first thing was told me when I got in the industry: 10,000 hours or 10 years. Typically, take 10,000 hours, 10 years before you become a professional in any field you in. So one of the things is, rather than you get those hours in, go seek a professional. Like we said before in the last show, I'm not going to go to Joe Blow down the street and ask him to be a counselor for me. If I had a wife, if we having issues, I'm going to go seek
Right.
professional help to get help.
Right.
And I think sometimes we wait a little too late. We try to wait behind the 8 ball after the fact that, for instance, someone put $10,000 to $12,000 in the market and they lose it. Now they're looking for someone to bail them out. But before you do that, try to find a mentor or find another professional that can assist you and help you make sure you make the right decisions.
How early should we seek this person? Because honestly, when you're in the atmosphere of school or in the atmosphere of being in the community, it's easy to stumble across a mentor. It's easy to find someone who you admire or that you see that you feel like, yo, I really just want to get a chance to talk with you and get to pick your brain. When do we find a financial mentor and how do we do that?
You got to start on day one. And what you can do is, I always say, can go Google people's name and look for individuals that you can basically bond with, because it's like building a relationship. Because you're gonna be telling this person most likely intimate things about you and your life, and make sure they're not judgmental of what's currently going on. And because
Hold on, which intimate thing? This is money, right? We talking about money, like nothing else. We just talking about money.
no, but you'll be very surprised how many people sit down to me and tell me their whole life story. Because one of the things is,
Look,
yeah,
look, we
because
cool
when
now, but
yeah,
some things, yeah.
because when you have two individuals, a wife and a husband, you want to have both in the room, because you want to make sure they're on the same page. Because you want to make sure that the
Right.
individual at the end of the day doesn't. One person might say, "I want $1 million," and the other person might say, I need a $500,000." And then they think,
Okay.
if you end up doing $500,000, the other person highly upset because we didn't plan for the million. So you have to have them on the same page. Because they say finance for romance is typically what? Is a nuisance. So you want to make sure that you stay on top of everything together within a relationship.
Wait a minute. Say that one more time. I hadn't heard that before. Say that again.
Finance before wait, what is it? You're right, because I said it so good then. I said romance before finance.
You said it real good. I like it. Yeah, I said it twice.
you know. So romance before finance is a nuisance. So because what end up happening is, you want to make sure you're on the same page and make sure you put everything out.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Got you. That was, yeah, okay, okay. So coming in the gate, I need to find mentorship as soon as possible.
Yes.
Be in the company of professionals to help me understand what's going on with these numbers. If people are like me, I mean, I can be a skeptic sometimes. I have a hard time trusting just professionals that are going to automatically do right by me. My thought is, and this is me being customer service and sales for a large chunk of my life, is you're going to give me what's most profitable for you. Is there any kind of prep work and reading I should look into before I go talk to a professional?
One of the things you want to look at is the company that they deal with. Excuse me. And see what type of fees they are charging. That's one of the biggest things out there. I think I had a client. She didn't come to me for her father with his 401k, and he ended up putting his money back into the market. And as we see what happened around what was it, March, when COVID-19, the market crashed. Her father's 71 years old, and he had his money in the market, and it's down from, he had no more, like I think it was 120,000, but she said now it's down like to 40,000. And I
Wow.
asked her, what vehicle did he use for him at that current age? And she explained to me, and I explained, some of the nuances of what, someone who's fairly young or someone who's in the industry can be trying to turn and churn your account for fees to make money. So you have to watch that, because a lot of places was, if you ask them to move the money over, if they manage your money on a consistent basis, and you get a lot of fees on top of it. So you have to watch that part.
You made a phrase. You said turn and churn. What does that mean?
Turn and churn, basically what
Can
they
you
end up doing is, and in this context, what they'll do is they'll move the money over to, they'll take the money and move it around a lot. And so every time they move it around, they'll receive a fee. And so their pockets are, they'll line their pockets up with, every time they move the money over. So you have to watch that as well. So typically any financial service platform you use, they typically
right?
charge for everything that you do. So it's just like, for instance, I think we talked about last show. We talked about the three mobile apps you can use, and the more you
Right.
do, the more they charge you. So it's almost like you start off with a car. At the beginning of a car, you have roll up windows, but then if you say, I want to get a little, I want to have power windows, they charge you a little extra. I want to take it from a V6 to a V8, they go charge extra. So the
Right.
more you do, the more you ask for, the more they're going to end up charging. So you have to watch those charges and look at those fees. And I think, when you do that, you need to make sure you can write down each fee that you're being charged as well. Because I think a lot of people don't pay attention to them fees. Because if you're getting charged by, say, 1% or 2% fees, or 180 above, 2%, and your account growth that year 5%, you only went up 3 because you got to pay those fees of 2% out.
Right. Right. So you come in looking for a Honda, and you roll out in my personal dream car, an Audi A8, and you like, wait, I want
Yeah,
this, but I didn't ask for all this. How did I
exactly.
come out in this car?
And then the thing is, that's why you should always go out and look for, just like a relationship, trying to date and find out who match your personality and your lifestyle, and see who can better help you out. You know, because someone who probably have clients who are making millions, his mindset might be totally different on the way he gonna treat someone who makes 100,000. He
Right.
might not baby you like you need someone to watch this over you, because you don't know that much. Because he looking at your
Right.
100,000 to their 10 million. I make more money from the 10 million rather than from the 100,000 person.
Okay. So whatever professional you get, she or he, you need
Mm.
to make sure that they're operating on a level that is on the same as yours. Like, help me understand that, because I would think if I'm looking to become a multi-million dollar investor, right? But the person who I'm working with only handles maybe a few $1,000s at a time. Um, is that Do I stick with that person? Do I walk with that person till I get up? How does that work? Help me understand right there.
Explain to me again, because you said if you had an individual.
So if you have an individual, right, like, cause like you said, you want someone who vibes with what you're trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want someone who has multi-million-dollar clients and you're only dealing with a few $1,000s or $100,000 because they may not be able to give you the attention that you need. So do you look for someone who's specifically focused on your financial bracket, even though you may be hoping to get to that multi-million-dollar stage one day?
So, like I said before, it's about finding someone that's going to believe in you and gonna look out for your best
Mm,
interests. Because I think my slogan is, we try to give, I try to give my people much information as possible. If that person giving you a lot of information, accept them. So that it can be that person who makes, got clients who giving them millions, or it can be, it can be that client, be that person who only does no more than 100, got a $500,000 worth of clients. But you want to make sure that person is feeding you information and giving you information, and not leaving you out there in the weeds and have you trying to figure it out yourself, because that's what you're paying that person for. You're paying that person to be able to give you knowledge and information.
got you, got you. Let me ask you this, because that's good. Thank you. Here's a question. If I'm a beginner and I'm hitting into this investor's game, right? I've found a
Mhm.
mentor. I'm trucking along. When do I know when I'm ready to switch to a higher level of investing? Because I know I hear people all the time. Like the trepidation is I don't have enough money to invest. I don't know how to invest. And that's a lot of the questions I've already asked you. But then I've gotten into conversations with people who are investing. And the question then becomes, when do you know when you're ready to start frying those bigger fish? When you really start going for those bigger investment moments? When would you suggest that, hey, if this goes off in your head, if you've reached this level of thinking, you may want to start looking at bigger fish to fry?
When you have bigger discretionary income to use, it's all based on income.
When you ain't broke.
You can't invest with no money. And that's just
Right,
life.
right. So
You gotta have money, because some people might start off, when we first get out of college making 30, $40,000 a year, the last thing, in our community, we trying to pay student loans off and, some bad credit cards. And then after
okay,
that, get up to 50 to 100,000, between 50 and 100,000, you might have more discretionary income to be able to put to the side. And it all depends on
right.
your income, you know. So you got to have discretionary income to be able to put into the market.
Got you. Got you. So and I guess that would be representative of how well you've been handling your money thus far, right? Because if
Mhm.
you've been able to develop more discretionary income, I would think that would mean you've made some good decisions
Yes.
in investing thus far. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yes, you have. Because if you're saving, most likely you have what? Remember we talked about, was it 6 to 9 months emergency funds you got set aside?
Right.
Most likely you got covered.
Right.
Most likely you have, if you have a family, most likely you have your insurance in place to protect your family. And then they think, the next best thing is, you got all your everything like your house covered, everyone taken care of, and you want to be able to have a discretionary income to invest, and that's the best time. You know,
Okay.
the investments typically is at the end because most people invest at their job. So once you step
Mhm.
outside your job, if you have discretionary income, you can better use it then. It don't take a whole lot to become a millionaire, but it take a whole lot of saving to get there.
That's a good statement. One more time, sir.
But that probably won't come back. I don't remember
Wait,
that
wait,
one,
wait. I
but
heard it. I heard it. It don't take a lot to become a millionaire, but it takes a whole lot of saving to get there.
yes.
Okay.
So typically,
Okay. Got you.
I think my
You
uncle told me
mentioned
when I first
no,
came
go
out of
ahead.
high school. My uncle told me when I first came out of high school, and I think this back in the days when I think IRA was, I think it was at 1,500 or 2,500, one or the other. And he told me, hey, Dominic, if you put that back at 18, by the time you turn 52, you'll have $1 million. And me being young and not knowing at that current moment, I didn't pay it no attention because all my friends were buying Jordans, hanging out, so I was doing the same. And then when I got this
Right.
industry,
Damn, you about to turn up.
yes, yes, turn up. And so when I got to this age right here, and I look back, and I'm like, wow, I'm 41. I'm 9 years away from that. I could have been a millionaire if I just listened to him. But like I said, one of the things we talked about, I think the last show, we have to start young and speaking to the youth and telling them about savings and
Yeah.
building up. I think I saw this. posting of an NFL player play for the Patriots, and he said that he only used 10% of his check, and the reason why he used 10% of his check because he learned about finance in high school, and he took that. He said, "I didn't learn it in college. I learned it in high school, and so I only use 10% of my check. So when I do retire from the NFL, he still will be wealthy."
Right. And that's beautiful because a lot of NFL players, I didn't know this. A friend of mine who at one point played for the Atlanta Falcons briefly, he said, honestly, with a lot of football careers, people only last 5 years. The
Yeah,
average career in certain positions in the NFL is 5 years. So if you haven't taken care of your money right, if you haven't kept yourself financially healthy, you're going to struggle. You only got
yeah.
5, maybe 7 years on certain positions, unless you're like a wide receiver or like a quarterback.
Because the biggest problem that everybody have in that industry is that they think that they're not contracts. People got to understand they are W-2 employees, so they get taxed 60 to 50% of their
I did
money.
not know.
So if someone gets $20 million, they go get a $20 million house, but they only gonna receive 10 at the end of the year. So they are for NBA players are employees of the NBA, so they get a W-2. And that was taught to me when I first got in this industry, and I'm like, no, Kobe Bryant them getting $20 million a year. Nah, after taxes, they get what 10 to 9. And you buy a $20 million house and you got a $40 million contract, you're only getting 20. And then you're praying and hoping that you can get another contract like that to pay off that house and keep that lifestyle.
Wow. Now, I did not know they were taxed that much. That's wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you this because you brought this up as well, talking about, saving for different things, emergency savings. So if I have the order right, before I begin investing at all, I better make sure my emergency savings are already stocked and ready.
Yes, Stockton ready. Yes. Because the
Okay.
first thing you're gonna do,
Gotcha.
the first thing you do after if you don't for instance, COVID-19 comes again, the first thing you do is you stop investing. You stop taking care of your life insurance. You stop preparing for all those things. Because guess what? You need that money to be able to survive and live. That's why 6 to 9 months is typically good.
Okay. Got you. 6 to 9 months of emergency savings. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's say we trucking along, right? My emergency savings is set. I've maxed out my retirement, my investment stuff at my job. How do I prioritize investing when it comes
Mhm.
to the rest of my saving stuff? Because you just mentioned insurance, emergency savings, retirement account, all those things are still coming out of your check. How do I
Mhm.
prioritize investing when I look at all the other avenues I'm already looking at? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
one thing I noticed, people who are struggling, especially financially, there's always this conversation in their head of, what do I spend my money on this month?
Mhm.
Because whether they know it or not, there's almost an embedded priority list in their head. They may not even know it's there.
Mhm.
And we've already talked about a lot on this show, mental reconditioning, right?
Yes.
So what does it mean? What priority should investing have when as I roll through, my life as far as um, the money that we put into it? Because there's so
You
much
know,
pulling at our wallets.
exactly. You're exactly right. It should be on the high. Should be on the high end. One of the things I always tell my clients, and I was taught this at the beginning when I first started, is that, especially people who end up having kids, I said one of the great things is you can get loans for college, but you can't get loans for retirement. So you need to start preparing early, putting some back for retirement. Social Security, is no more than 12 or 13 or $1,400 for most people. That's not, you can't live off that. You can live off that, but it's be a modern lifestyle to compare to what you was living when you was working. So you need to start putting, if you could put $10 back, $100 back and towards retirement, that'll help out a whole lot. But one of the things, like I said from the beginning, is it all depends on the discretionary income that you do have. But one of the things is if you sit up with a professional, they can be like an auto draft out of your account. And I always tell my clients when they complain about, I can't do $100, $200 a month. I said, imagine how many times you go to Starbucks a day. You do 5 times 30 is what? It's $150. How many times you go to Chick-fil-A? 10.
Yeah,
10 times 30 is
yeah.
300. So when you're at the the end of the day, when you think of, well, except for Sunday, let me take that out. But
Oh
what you
yeah,
have
no,
to
you
look
ain't
at,
getting into Chick-fil-A on Sunday.
not on Sunday. So what you have to look at is that because we are in that 2020, everybody's in the healthcare kick, and you want to be healthy. Take a couple of days off that Starbucks and that Chick-fil-A, or going out to eat and just make, going to the grocery store and buying food for yourself. And I can imagine you can find 150, $200, $300 somewhere if you just, if you, like you said, recondition your mind to be able to do it.
Got you, got you. Wow, wow, man. It sounds amazingly simple, but very challenging in the sense that the reset of how we prioritize savings over consumerism is a very difficult thing. Just a very difficult thing.
Derek, one of the things
Mr.
I can say to that,
Go ahead.
one more thing, one of the things I can say to that is that just like you get a personal trainer, find like a mentor, find a coach, find someone that can help you go through this. Because this is not going to be easy, especially when, for me growing up, my grandmother used to always take us shopping. That was the biggest thing we used to do together. She loved shop. She'll take us inside the belts and put us in the dressing room and come back about 30 different outfits. So as I got older,
Look,
that was
you
my
tried
thing.
all the pants, the socks, that tie.
Socks, everything. Yeah. So one of
You
the
tried
things
all
is
that.
when I got in this industry, I had to start reconditioning my mind and myself and start realizing all the things that I learned in college and all the things I have been taught. I had to start doing it myself before I could start practicing and preaching it to someone else. Like I said, but one of the biggest things that I think I didn't get a chance to say this the last show is that, but I said it's the first show. The people you hang around are typically the lifestyle, income, and attitudes you're gonna have. So find people that you see and trying to go in the direction you're going in, and get around them so they can help teach you and bring you up. So hopefully that eventually you can catch up and you can be on the same level and retire happy.
Got you. And that's good. I was going to ask you for your final thought because we coming to the end of the show. You just gave it to me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Mr. Dujiste, thank you so much for being with us. If you're gonna hang out for another few minutes, we're gonna talk a little bit more. But as for you, family, thank you so much for being with us this Monday. This is the end of the show, unfortunately. But if you'll join us next Monday, we'll have another discussion. And I promise you'll get something else that you can take away to help you on your quest towards financial freedom. It's been a blessing, y'all. Be safe out there.